What's up, everybody? Now, hey, look, I was like, went to go see Captain America Brave New World, and want to go ahead and just say it already out here because I know it was like that way you can figure out if you want to stay or not for the movie. But me, personally, myself, all I'm talking about is that I did really enjoy the movie. Now, that's totally different than whether I thought it was a really good movie or what scale I would put the movie in. But for right now, I really like the movie. After just the one time seeing it, I was gonna say I was like, I'm not gonna compare it to the other Captain America movies because hey, he's not Steve Rogers, so why would I do that? No, I thought the movie was actually. I was like, 2 hours. I was like, look, I'm mostly somebody that's like, as long as I don't feel bored or anything like that, I was like, you're always going to pretty much be okay in my book. That I did not waste 2 hours of my life, and I don't think that I did. I was really excited. More, I was like, when I first heard about the movie, I was sort of like, okay, cool. I was like, I'll be on my normal level of Marvel kind of movie excitability. And that's really just kind of like, okay. But then as I was like, hear about stuff and all this other stuff, then you hear about like, oh, they had to change the script, they're changing all this stuff about the movie, which I sort of feel like I can sort of tell in the movie. But I was like, oh, okay, all right, that's sort of making it dip a little bit. Then you start seeing some of the trailers and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna pick back up. Now I was like, I've also sort of also have made the joke of basically I'm like, no, he's Captain Falcon to me and not Captain America. But I was like, that's really my joke because I don't really like when we just sort of just switch characters just for the sake of switching characters. Even though I was like, I will also defend the fact that him being Captain America at the same time and comparing to how other people say like he shouldn't be it because of the super soldier serum and stuff, which he addresses, and or they should have gave it to Bucky. I was like, well, doesn't make any sense. And how? Why did he get the thing? And I was like, sure, they could have gave it to somebody else, but I was like, it also does make sense of why he would get it as well too. Um, yeah, so I was like, so from that standpoint, I was like, was it everything I sort of where I was like, oh man, I was like I said, I didn't come out of it being like, oh, this was a good, I was like a great movie. I thought it was just a good movie. I thought that if we were putting this on a scale, I was like, and really to be honest, anything sort of after 2020, I feel like we have really ruined the movie going feeling and experience and expectation that we have. Where I say 2020 Endgame, whatever you want to say about how we do these movies and shows, because I was like, I feel like this really fits on par with a lot of movies that was in the Infinity Saga, where it was like, I was like, oh, it's not a great movie, but it's a good movie. That I also think if we also had other projects that I think would have did fairly well, we wouldn't. I was like, I feel like cause I was like, I haven't watched anything of other people. I've just but I've seen from like either scrolling or like the tags or whatever. I was like, I can see what everybody's saying, and I was like, and to be honest, I was like, hey, look, it's hitting really highs on as far as like the money I got back on weekend and stuff like that. Even though there are going to look, you're more than welcome if you didn't like the movie to not like the movie. I think that's fine. But also think that I was like if I was going to give this movie somewhat of a rating, I think I would give this thing probably like I like a good 7. Like it was a good, like it was just a good movie. I don't think it's horribly bad or anything like that. I thought it had better direction and more, I was like, substance than I think some of the other movies we've had outside of like Deadpool and Guardians or whatever, because that's what we're really sort of balancing out with. We're really talking about it within some of the other movies we've had in a while. Um, I will say I was like, I do think the action scenes and all the fighting was good. I was like, I thought they brought a lot of that Winter Soldier esque type of fighting and action back to it, even if I don't necessarily follow or agree with some of the ways that some of the things made sense for it. But I was like, in the moment of it, I was like, no, I was like, this is great, especially the fact that I'm like, because of like he's fighting without the super soldier serum. I was like, he got to be. I was like, it changes your way of thinking about it, where in a different way to me. I was like, the story of it felt like it was being 3 or 4 movies or ideas into one movie, if that makes sense. I think from the Thaddeus Ross part with the Red Hulk, I think the leader part, the Serpent Society part, which really wasn't a society at all in here. I was like, and the part with the Isaiah Bradley thing, I felt like it did seem like it was trying to like keep a lot of the good stuff from all these different type of focuses and put them in one movie, and it seemed like we could just try to, because also I think Marvel's also in the tight like spot, just because I feel like even though they're not rebooting, this is really their first movie to actually reboot, I was like, or refocus, not reboot, to refocus, to try to get everything on track as fast as they can to lead up to Doomsday and Secret Wars, because they don't really have the amount of time that we think they sort of have in that instance. I felt like I would like try to shoehorn a couple stuff in. I was like, but I did like the fact of his suit. I like the fact that because he doesn't have the serum, that he has to find other ways of doing things with, like, the vibranium wings and the kinetic energy that it has. I was like, I think that a little bit of the, I was like, I know he points it out, but I was like, he'll point it out about needing a super soldier serum or whatever, and I get that from the part of like healing and things like that. But in a lot of aspects, I was like, I was like, yeah, you got this. I was like, you have the super strength, and maybe, for instance, someone like, I was like, the Serpent Society guy, I forgot his name. I was like, yeah, you might be able to beat his ass a little bit faster, but I was like, you still losing to the Hulk, and no more than Steve Rogers was. I was like, and a lot of them other fights, and I'm like, you would sort of be in a similar situation without like Bucky said, it's like it wouldn't really have mattered or changed anything from what he was doing, and I believe in that. I was like, I did like the incorporation of Isaiah Bradley. I just wish we would have sort of did more to him with him or whatever. Like, I guess I would have liked maybe like he would have got away a little bit more first, so it just sort of looks like did he get what a more revenge or whatever like that. I was like, but I was like, it's gonna sound like I'm gonna be like negative when I'm sort of just going through aspects of the movie, and that's what I'm not trying to do, because I was like I said, I did like the movie, but I was like, I'm not gonna act like it wasn't clunky or anything like that. I was like, I do think they do in the movie, they overdo it with the fact of him trying to, I was like, I guess I was like him. I was like, and this is really just sort of Captain America, where it's like basically he's trying to be diplomatic and trying to talk to everybody's point of view and side. What you kind of do when you're basically the spot of Captain America, you basically got to be what people believe or thinking when they do that, which I understood when that is like, oh, okay, we need to work together. I can't just have you go out on missions and stuff like that. I do like the concept of basically like, hey, we're officially saying that you're the one that's going to basically put the Avengers together. You're going to be some form of the leader, and no with the villain connection. I was like, I liked, even though it is weird that they used the leader to try to fill in everything of basically of like how Thaddeus Ross became the president. Was like all the technological things that doesn't happen really fast in this world, and I guess also to make it seem like it wasn't just like Iron Man that was doing all these things or whatever, that he basically is the one that's been behind the scenes this whole time of like making sure that this happened and this happened and this happened. And I was like, so maybe he's the one that's been like controlling a lot more of the stuff than everybody, I was like, believe. But I was like, let's go something that I was like, I didn't like as well. I was like, there was times where I did think the dialogue was a little bit weird, where it was just like, okay, cool. There was really nothing to say there. But I also am not gonna act like that had to been in movies. I'm like, you got 2 hours to fill, and you're talking, and while a lot of us want these like one-liners, or I was like, or like there's something important really to say, it's like, nah. Sometimes you just talking, and I was like, we talk enough in our life to where it's just kind of like it to be filler. That's kind of what it is. It's just sort of to get us point A to point B. And I was like, but I did like that with some of the dialogue that it just sort of felt like, oh, it's just regular people talking or whatever. Like, we know we about to get into some action and we know we about to do something. There's no reason for them. I was like, they ain't got to go on some philosophical like trip to tell me about. So I don't need all that. I was like, and a couple of regular jokes too, because I was like, cause we got enough of like funny people, and where it's like they got to make sure they got the quippiness of Marvel and all this other stuff. To where it's like, no, they were just regular jokes that you would probably say to your friend or whatever like that, or joke around with somebody that's nice. It's like a little like ha ha kind of thing, but nothing over where it's just like, oh, you must be a comedian, so who wrote your jokes, kind of thing. Now where I said it was like 4 movies in one, and I was like, I talked about each one, is that I was like, I felt like the Isaiah Bradley Super Soldier thing, it almost made me think of Captain America Civil War with that super serum and Bucky being framed. That's sort of how that influence came about. And I was like, I get, because I do think that Bradley does have a place in here, considering that, they did him wrong and they did use that as a bit. But while I was like, man, I get it that if he was on the run, how would it be too much different than Bucky's or whatever? It gave, it gave them some motivation to find out who actually did it. So I was like, that wasn't necessarily too bad. It just seemed like there could have been a little bit more there. I would say the Cerberus Society thing, and that really to me was basically just kind of just, it was just there. I was like, I guess it made me think of so Winter Soldier, where I was like, what he and I was like, I guess this also wasn't Winter Soldier in the Falcon show. I was like Ban Rock or whatever, played by George St. Pierre. His character, where it was just kind of I was like, he was a really strong dude. I was like, I don't think he had any super soldier serum or nothing like that. And he's also was sort of tagging Captain America until they started taking him more seriously. That's sort of what he made me think of. I was like, but he was sort of just there, even though it seemed like he should have been a bigger player. And I was like, at first that was sort of going to be part of a bigger part of the movie or whatever, until some stuff had to get changed or whatever like that. So I was like, so I get that why it feels like that. I was like, but I feel like the leader's motivation, while I think it's a real motivation, I don't think that should have been the plan of the whole movie. It was basically making Ross out to be I was like, to show the monster that he is cool, but I think that when he becomes the monster of the Red Hulk, then it's just kind of like, that's what your whole thing is. And and I guess I was like, I get it. It's like Zemo, where it was kind of like, hey, I'm gonna divide and do all these things with the Avengers or whatever. And that's sort of what it was here, where it's like he divided the USA and Japan, and was dividing Captain America and versus that and Raw. I was like, I get that. It just felt like there should have been more mastermind kind of things right there, because I was like, while he was smart and he was like every step of people, but it didn't have the impact, I guess. I was like, the Hulk part, I think that's one of them things where I think Marvel had to do what they had to do in order to make sure that people were going to come see this movie, because, and I was like, you wanted the leader. I was like, unless you sort of like heard about some of the reports and stuff like that, the leader being in the movie, because they talked about Abomination, stuff like that okay, but it's like, it's how much is he the villain. So it's like, okay, well, if he's not there, the Cerberus Society thing. So outside of John, like this, I was like, John Carlos, I was like, you don't really know nothing about them. So what are you really selling this movie on? Who was the villain here? Whereas like in all the other movies, you could sort of figure out who the villain might be or whatever. You had to sell on the Red Hulk. I think it would have been great just to see it in theaters, but I was like, you had to sell them on the Red Hulk. So I was like, so you couldn't really have it be like a surprise there or some like leaks or something like that. You had to do the marketing thing. But I think it would have been better if you would have just seen it in theaters. Also, I don't know if I was like, for that, the way the movie sort of ends as well, I was like, I don't know if I like that. I think that would have been cool if you would have had like that a little bit. Like if he would have flipped out during the whole scene, in some form or something like that. Maybe they was on Timu or whatever, and he would have flipped out there, and you would have died it down, and that's how. And then like with that, you would able to quell down all the USA Japan stuff. And then there was like somebody. I was like, and then there was something else at the end. I think the format could have been a little bit better. I was like, I didn't mind necessarily that. I was like, there was no way for him to beat the Hulk. They was right. You're going to die out there, and they pretty much did the same thing like they did with the Hulk, except for there was no Black Widow here to touch his hand and make him get all the feels. I was like, it was the cherry blossom to him remembering his daughter or whatever. I thought at the end they were really going to like pull her daughter, his daughter out of somewhere and bring her to him and calm him down. I feel like that might have been just better, but I was like, I think the fight scene between them was pretty good because I was like, he did all that he could. I was like, he was wounding the Hulk as much as he wanted. I was like, as much as he could as well, and I was like, he was fighting with all that he could. And I was like, but he is a regular person. And I think and I was like, I did like the conversation between not only like Bucky and Sam, but I was like, the new Falcon. I was like, and Sam. And stuff where they basically explained to him that he doesn't need a serum, and I was like, it's sort of my thing where it's like, no, he doesn't need the serum. I was like, him being Captain America isn't serum based. That's not what Captain America is actually when you actually have to look at it at the scale. Like, yeah, he got the super strength that he takes on people, but it's actually what he had inside to basically fight the fight that nobody else is willing to fight and defend the people that he needs to defend, even if it goes against other people telling him what to do, which he showed in the movie when Thaddeus was over here telling him like, no, you shouldn't be here. You're not Steve Rogers. You're not this and that. And he's like, whatever. Then I was like, then I'm gonna do what I need to do in order to make sure that this deed or this thing is like it's done the right way. I'm not over here for this politicking stuff. I can't be over here doing. I was like following your rules just because you said so. Like, no. And I was like, that's everything that Captain America pretty much did in his movies. I was like, after the first one where he basically tried to do it the way that it was supposed to be done, and all the other movies after that were basically like, no, I'm not following none of y'all rules. If I feel like something right or needs to be done like this, that's what I'm doing, and that's what he did. I was like, I do like the new Falcon. I was like, once again, I was like, it is one of them things where I was like, oh, could we did not give him another identity? But hey, I think that's cool. I was like, I was like, it is what it is at this point. I was like, there's no really changing, so why bother fighting again and being like any more mad on it? I'll still make jokes, but that's besides the point. Yeah, but I was like, for the whole movie in itself, I was like, no, I think it did fairly well. I think it did what I was like. I'm not looking for some awe-inspiring. I was like movie. I was like, it was a good movie. I was like, it's your opinion, but I was like, for someone that's like, yo, it's trash and stuff like that. I was like, okay, now y'all just seem like y'all just hating. I was like, if you was like, I didn't enjoy the movie. I respect that a lot more than be like, it's a bad movie, and it's like, okay, bad movie, whatever. All right. Yeah. But like I said, I was like, fight scenes, cool. I think I like Anthony Mackie with. I was like how he kind of like he's really chill with his demeanor and the jokes. He doesn't get overly mad or anything like that. I was like, he say cool, calm, and collective of all the stuff. I will say the Black Widow person was odd in the movie because wasn't needed, but also it's like, who you're gonna have her there, and what does she do? Like, I felt like it was trying to do the Iron Man 2 thing, but it really didn't. Like, there really wasn't any fight that she was in, or whatever. I was like, there was nothing that was really showcase of like, oh snap, she's really like, there was nothing there. And I was like, I felt like them putting in the fact that she was part of the Red Room and stuff like that is to give the audience like, oh, like the credibility that she needs, but they didn't really show or do anything with her that proved or made anything about it. So therefore, we're just kind of like, all right, I guess. I was like, I felt like you could have did this with Andy. I felt like you didn't need that her. I was like, you could have. I was like, the other agent or whatever. I was like that Sam has on the inside. I was like, I felt like you could have basically got one of those agents and did sort of the same thing, because I was like, she wasn't really special in that way of how they made it about her, about her. Like everybody in the movie, even though I sort of said some of the pain points where I was like they could have did more with them, I was like played a role in the movie where she really, I was like where she really didn't or whatever. I was like, and the thought, I was like, I did have a thought about that guard. I was like, oh, I could get court-martialed by this, and then he brought her in. I was like, man, that's snitching. I was like, but then again, I was like, hey, you don't want to lose. I was like, you got a good job. I was like, you probably got like a pension or something like that. You're right. I was like, that's not really snitching in that situation. I was like, you should do what's a betterment of probably your family and your life in this situation. But yeah, no, I was like, and I would say the post credit scene, I felt was shoehorned in. It really felt like I was, first of all, I was like, they did I was like, I know I already pointed out some point. I mean, some things that they did, like the Captain America movies in general or whatever, where it was like this, for instance, a scene where he was talking to Isaiah Bradley the first time, but the post credit scene, that was really just like how I was like, Steve Rogers came back to the raft to save all of them. It really was framed like that, but it was really it I really felt like that one was really sort of really towards the audience, where basically like, hey, I was like, stay with us. Just all this stuff will connect, and I feel like that was the leader really saying when he was saying, I've seen all the scenarios, I've seen all the things. I was like, what will you do when you gotta fight the others and stuff like that? And it sounds like he's over here talking about when we're going to get the multiverse people and the incursion and stuff like that, or whatever. But I was like, the way it came off was really sort of like, it really wasn't a post credit scene that would have you like, oh snap, what's going on? It really tell I was like, hey, come on, man. I was like, we're gonna right this ship. We're gonna get everything connected. We're gonna get everything right, and then we'll be good, right? Yeah, sure. I was like, that was really for, because I was like, it was a really nothing post credit scene. Cause I was like, it's not like Anthony Mackie even was like he wasn't even feel like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? Or what it was just kind of like, okay, crazy. Like that's what it sort of felt like. I did like the fact that Red Hulk wasn't just set up in a way of like Thaddeus just wanting the serum and stuff like that and wanting to be Hulk himself. I did like the fact that the leader basically poisoned him and basically created him in a sense. I was like, I did like that way of doing it, to where, like I said, if it wasn't shown to be Red Hulk in the trailers, that would have been cool to see in the theater, of just being like, because like, you would have had a couple of those people that would have just been like as soon as they start thinking about the pills, they're like, and they know, and you know that he's gonna be Red Hulk in some form and fashion because of comics and people talking and stuff. That you just been like, oh, I bet you the pills are gonna turn him. Like, you would have had like that mind blowing moment or whatever, like, oh, he's turning mad or whatever. Even though they were sort of hinting it out through the movie and stuff like that until he fully turned it or whatever. But I was like, but I still like the way that they went about it like that. I understood it, but I didn't really feel great about necessarily the whole thing behind Thaddeus was like his daughter. But I understand him wanting to redeem himself because he was at one point dying. I was like, it is weird that he's such a throwaway basically after this whatever tenure that he had as president, from the last time we seen the last president that was at Secret Invasion or whatever, and how that the leader basically put in place for Thaddeus to become the president during this whole time, which I'm not gonna lie, seemed like you should have probably been able to figure this out a lot earlier. Yeah, so I was like, I don't mind them bringing stuff back from decades ago. I think that stuff is actually sort of kind of cool in a way, of like something from like the first couple movies, bringing it back here. I was like, I know people would have wanted it beforehand, but that's, to me, I was like, that would have been stuff in a lot of those movies as well too. And yeah, at the height of it, we would have all been excited, to where now it's at a lull to where people are like, oh, I don't care anymore. But I was like, I do like that some of this stuff does get to be brought back in a sense, whatever. Anyway, rambled on long enough about the movie. Like I said, thought it was a good movie. I think that if this was pre-Endgame, I think we would have a better look at the movie as well, because I was like, if you ask me if I would watch this over, like how many movies would I watch this over? I was like, man, I was like, that one probably difficult. That might be another separate movie. I mean, video be going running down. What I mean, off of this first watch, because I was like, I think it had enough action and stuff in it in order to watch it again. And I don't think it's like that or whatever. But I was like, I sometimes tend to, outside of like my top ones, I don't tend to rewatch them like that anyway. But anyway, what do y'all think of the movie? If y'all seen it or not? I was like, hopefully I gave y'all enough of a review to, like, if you want to go see it, go see it. I was like, don't base it all on me. Don't base it on anybody else. Base it on what you want to see or whatever like that. You probably already got your preconceived notions about it anyway, so whatever. I was like, if I have more to say about the movie other than listing, I'll do it or whatever. But till then, peace. I was like, I'm out.